everyone, Bethany here, and welcome to my tutorial. Today I am playing with the June box of the month, and I love this box. It is farm themed. I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos from other designers, but I have a idea that I am going to just start playing with. I separated a few things, and I'm just going to go ahead and dive on in. First, I selected two of the sheets of paper from the Farm Life paper pack and I cut them down. I picked the pink gingham, which I think is stinking adorable, and the sunflower with the pink roses or pink flowers behind it in the bunches. I just thought they fit perfectly with what I was aiming for. The larger panel I cut down was the green sunflower panel, and I cut it 3 inches by 4 1/4. And then the pink gingham I cut down to 2.5 inches by 4 1/4. And now I'm just going to go ahead and glue those down before I play with anything else because I want to give them ample dry time. By the way, do you see these adorable patterns on the other side? I have some great ideas for playing with those as well. The nice thing about this paper pack though is you have the option to use whichever side, but you also can get inspiration from different parts of the pack, which I think that one's really cute too. Maybe I'll change my mind and make another card with that next. We'll see. And as long as you don't put your card base in the glue, it's great. I am putting this on a Neenah 110-pound cardstock, and I just cut down the card base myself. Nothing fancy. And I intended this to fit edge to edge. So now I'm going to go ahead and choose which stamps I'm going to use while putting this under my Cuttlebug plate to dry. So I have grabbed a few stamps from the Happiness is Homemade stamp sets, and I have loaded them into my Misty Mini, and I have a little scrap piece of white cardstock here, and I'm just using some Eclipse black color Hive ink, and I'm inking it up really well, hoping to get it on the first try, but you never know. And because these stamps really haven't been stamped on yet, I did the manufacturer oils off as best as possible off screen, so we will see how well I did. And then I use a smusher to get the best impression possible, and actually it's pretty good. There's a little bit on the milk that I just want a smidge better, but otherwise I really like this first impression. Not too shabby. Get it? I made a pun. Anyways. I'm having too much fun here. All right, I love it. So I did the three little chicks, the rooster, the jam, the eggs, the milk, happiness is homemade. And now I'm just going to fussy cut these out and I will be right back. Now that this has had some time to dry, I am going to start playing around with placement before I start coloring because I might not use them all. And for this project, I'm kind of just playing it by ear. I'm not really committing to anything. I really like the happiness is homemade in the middle. I'm keeping it fanciful with a hand cut scheme, but seeing how things are looking, maybe I'm going to balance it a little bit more this way and put that in the middle. All right, I'm actually liking this little scene. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get my alcohol markers out and start coloring away. So for the jam, I am starting with a pastel pink. I couldn't decide if I wanted pink or purple, so I kind of picked a purplish pink instead, which seems to be a little bit more jam colored anyways. I'm going to keep the middle of the label white. I'm going to play with using less color in this scheme, but I'm going to do the edge of the label in the pink. And then because jam always seems to be a hair darker, I'm going to go ahead and pick the vivid reddish purple, which is kind of a darker pink purple. You can see how it really pops. It looks like strawberry jam. It's delicious. If I had a tiny little strawberry, I would have put it right there on the label, but I don't. I will have to keep an eye out for a bitty bitty strawberry, as this jar already is very bitty. And you'll see I'm not really pushing very hard. It's such a tiny stamp that you don't really want to push too hard anyways, because then you'll start to bleed like I did on the edge of the label. So I'm going to actually just push some of that back using the colorless blender and not taking a whole lot of time to do it because I don't really need perfection. I'm still working on the I'm going for the fanciful look. All right, so then our jam is done. Now I'm going to go move on to the basket, and it's such a perfect, beautiful color. And I'm just going to keep them all the same color. I'm not going to do any shading because the stamp itself already has a little bit of shading. But for the basket, I'm going to do the rose beige, and I'm going to start the middle. And you'll see I'm using the broad tip, and that's just so I can get faster coverage. And you'll see I didn't go to the edges. That's because I'm going to add the terracotta with flecks. I'm going to fleck that terracotta right in there. And then I'm going to blend back with the brush tip of our original basket color, and then just let it sit and blend. And now the basket is done. The milk, I am going to take that salmon pink. I am just adding those little bits right over where the speckles of the stamp are. And I will show you up close so you can see what I mean. Just tiny, tiny speckles on the edges, and that's where I added the color to. All right, next we have the chicks and the rooster. So the rooster, I'm going to use my geranium red, and then I'm going to use barium yellow. It's a poppy yellow, but I feel like it will blend in with the sunflowers on the pattern that was picked earlier. And I'm just going to let the shading of the stamp itself be the shading for my coloring. So I'm really not going to add a whole lot of texture, shading, different colors. I'm going to let the stamp do all that work, which is kind of nice because you can't do that for every stamp. Some stamps, it doesn't work that well. But this, it looks great. Looks better in person. I love it. And I'm just going to keep it simple and do the same coloring for the little chicks. I did debate separating the chicks, and then I just thought they were stinking cute following each other. So I'm going to keep them together. They're just adorable. They remind me of my three little chicks. No, my children, but but this is just a cute little way to create a scene. It's nothing fancy, it's not exciting, so to speak, but look it's the mama, well, it's a rooster, so it's a daddy and his three little chicks, and they are hanging out and having fun. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create some pop of color here and just shade in the whole happiness is homemade. And I'm going to create it with the single color. I am going to go ahead and pop all of this up on some foam tape. So I've changed my mind about going with the foam tape right away because I want to make a little bit of glossiness happen with my jars here. So I am taking some clear gloss and I am just painting in the parts and pieces that would have gloss. So I'm not doing it on the label, but I'm just putting a very thin layer of clear gloss. It's Maker's Magic Crystal Clear, actually, and it's by Maker Forte. And it's really just adding this subtle layer of shine so that they look a little bit more dimensional. So that when I pop them up on foam tape, they really pop and shine. So you can achieve this look several ways. You can actually use straight glue, something that's a gloss glue versus a matte finish glue. There's all different ways to find that. Just do your research or do some samples to see what you like, what you don't like. Experiment. But I really like this idea. I am trying to create as even of a coat, knowing that milk bottles back in the day, they didn't really have even coats, so it's okay. Not trying to be super accurate. But as soon as they dry, they will be ready to be popped up on the foam tape as well. But while those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and start putting my foam tape on the backs of everything. And quick comment, I am down a finger. I sliced my thumb the other day, so that's why I have this ugly band-aid on. But you'll notice it has changed the way I am crafting a little bit. I have to actually be conscious of how I pick things up, how I hold things, and I I'm semi ambidextrous. I don't write with my left hand, but I do use my left hand for a lot of things. So I'm noticing a lot of changes, and some of them are more awkward than others. Like I've discovered that I peel bananas with my left hand, and that was not something I knew about previous to this incident. So now I know I peel bananas with my left hand, and it's slightly frustrating when my child goes, "Help, mom, help me peel my banana." So you'll also see I am using my junky scissors. It is very difficult without a thumb to pull the foam tape stuck, which is entertaining to everyone, maybe except for me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having fun with it. It's very interesting though, because now I'm paying attention to the things that I use my left thumb for. Like I cut steak with my left hand, so I will not be having steak until this heals up and I can have steak again. So I'm actually going to change my mind a little bit and put the items on the table. All of these little bits are just absolutely stinking adorable. Oh my goodness. All right, now I'm going to commit, and this is where it's going to get really interesting to peel all of the foam tape off. So I'm going to fast forward through this portion because I will definitely be fumbling just a smidge, but you'll see that I am trying to let the sunflowers shine through my bits, so they are peeking through. So I'm not really covering up any sunflowers, which is kind of cool. Feel like the happiness home is homemade has part to do with here's the fixings for your breakfast, or here is the parent chick or the parent rooster waiting for the chicks to come back home from playing. So it's all about coming home and being homemade and just cute, cute little stuff. And there you have a little scene that's a little bit more abstract, but it's still pretty fun. And I love the little glossy look that's happening on these jar pieces. But I hope you had fun watching today's tutorial. Don't forget to check down below for the link to the shop. There is a discount code, but that will be going away at the end of the month. So make sure that you use it while it's still available. Also, I will have links down below for any supplies I used and anything that I think is important for you to check out. Don't forget to come and play with me later this month as I play a little bit more with the box of the month on my channel. I would love to have you there, and I cannot wait to see you all next time. I hope you'll have a wonderful day. Don't forget to find the joy in your day and happy making. Bye!